Welcome to another broadcast for the new year. What this is all about is a little bit of a preamble. When I do predictions looking to see what's going to happen in various countries, which is really important because this year different countries are following different trajectories in terms of the whole COVID era, aren't they? So we need to look at specific countries and see how they may be, either people might be reacting, rising up, whatever. Can't say too much on YouTube, but we want to get a good read on different countries. And one way I'm going to do it is by looking at the April Ingress charts. I just want to show to you why these Ingress charts are very effective by going back in time and just looking at a few points in history and looking at the charts. Now you'll see exactly what I'm meaning here. This is the April Ingress chart for the 20th of March 1989 for Berlin. Obviously, this was the time with the fall of the Berlin Wall. So we're going back to the chart. The Ingress chart for Aries is basically the moment the sun crosses into Aries. So you'll see here I've got the sun at 0 degrees of Aries. So it's the beginning of the astrological year. It's a powerful point. And if you put it for the capital city, you can often get a good read. Now, as you can see here, the ascendant is at 12 degrees of Virgo, and we've got the moon at 10 degrees 51 of Virgo. So it's in a very close conjunction to the ascendant. But even closer, we've got Mars, which is there at 5 degrees 40 something, conjunct the midheaven, which is at 6 degrees. So you see, when we find planets very close in tight conjunction with one of the angles, we know that this is going to be a pivotal year for that country, a defining year. So if we have a look and we see there, the moon is ruling the 11th house of politics. It's often a house associated with being quite progressive, freedom-loving, changes in the legislature, changes to the way the country is governed. It also rules political movements, and moon, all about the people. So it was kind of grassroots. It wasn't kind of violent, was it? It was something that a lot of people had sensed that was going to happen. Some people didn't have a clue. And all of a sudden, there was just a collapse. So it really was people power. And here we have moon on the ascendant. We have Mars. Mars is a malefic. And as you can see, Mars being conjunct the midheaven indicates trouble for the ruling elite, trouble for the ruling powers. And I'm not sure if it happened in sort of East Germany, but I know that in Poland, all the former leaders of the communist era were tried, and a lot of people were happy to see them get their day. And I'm not sure if that happened in East Germany, but I'm sure a lot of people who held power were kind of not in such a great position after that happened. So there was a threat to the people in the power, as influenced by Mars. And as you can see here, Mars rules the 8th house, which is also connected with dramatic change, a whole new awakening, a whole new beginning, turbulence, also karma, retribution. So karma, retribution to the leaders. So let's have a look at another key moment. I should have actually done South Africa here for 1994. I forgot to do that one. Here this time it's Paris. It's the 20th of March, 1789, time of the French Revolution. So what do we have here? Well, we don't have anything too tight on any of the angles, although we do have the North Node, which is all about karma as well. The forward thrust, the beginning of a new era. And we have a huge amount of planets in the first house. So you can see here the total change in identity of France. Now, a lot of people will say the French Revolution was the first time the bankers were in control. A lot of people will tell you the bankers funded it, and it was their way of edging out the aristocracy and getting themselves into power. So that's why we don't really see the moon doing anything significant. It's not really grassroots. It wasn't actually about the people. I'm sure it's one of these situations where it's sold to the people of, oh yes, we get to get rid of that aristocracy because or the king or the queen, they're oppressing you, but these bankers are just going to come and oppress you instead. So what we learn from this is a huge amount of planets here. There's no less than 6 planets in the first house, including Pluto, also signify momentous events that will shape the future of a country, as of course the French Revolution shaped the future of France and also of the world. It was kind of a precursor to a lot of what's going on today. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. I don't even know what's coming next, so it's going to be interesting. Okay, here we go. It's Moscow. It's the 21st of March, 1991. So it's when the whole Soviet Union collapses. And what have we here? We have Mars, 23 degrees, and it's exactly conjunct the Icarus Cooley, which is at 23 degrees. So a tight conjunction, Mars involved. Mars is again ruling the 8th house, which is because it co-rules Scorpio. Okay, and we also have Mars ruling Aries intercepted in the 1st house. So Mars is a powerful planet. And again, as we saw that with the fall of the Berlin Wall, there was Mars on the midheaven. This time it's on the Icarus Cooley, which usually represents the opposition party, can influence the people. So I'm not really quite sure of the meaning of of Mars there, because it was also kind of a peaceful grassroots thing that happens. I heard what is the guy used to be, Mike Rivero. He said the invention of the fax machine played a very big role in the fall of the Soviet Union, because a lot of people inside the establishment who were fed up with everything started faxing information right across the country. And so people all over were receiving these faxes with all these documents, and they were finally realizing, oh my God, is this what's going on with the government and in the bureaucracy? And the corruption became... It was just so huge, it was unsustainable, and the whole thing kind of just capitulated under the weight of all this corruption. And he says the fax machine was pivotal. So perhaps Mars here represents a little bit of a grassroots uprising in a way there, individual action by the people, power to the people. In this case, I'd say it's acting in a positive way, not a negative way, as with the other planets. Also quite a strong 1st house. You've got your Sun, Mercury and Venus all in the 1st house. Pisces rising. Yeah, it wasn't all that it seemed, was it? Because we know there was a lot of let's put it this way, a lot of capitalists were ready to rape Russia. So it was a bit of a Cinderella story. It was one phase, but it was going into the phase of drunken Yeltsin, represented by Pisces rising, who was also going to sell the country out, wasn't he? He was allowing the country to be raped. It was Putin who brought a lot of strength back, kind of restored things. And as we know, Russia is one of the countries that's not totally under control of the bankers. That's why, the whole country's persona non grata. But I think that Pisces, there is a new dawn, but maybe Mars in Gemini, it's a double-edged sword there, because it was moving maybe from the Soviet area of tyranny to a gangster state kind of tyranny, and collapse, really, economic collapse. So it was in quite a mess, as represented by the Pisces rising. After that, Pluto, I see in Scorpio in the 8th house, very revolutionary as well. Here we have the chart for the 21st of March 1917. So this would, again, for Moscow, so this would encapsulate the Russian Revolution. Look at the stellium of planets in the 12th house. We have Jupiter rising, but it's not a tight conjunction, but similar to the French Revolution. We have the North Node on the midheaven. So strange that for the French and Russian Revolution, which I feel are very similar in a way, it's that same thing of the not really grassroots, the Bolsheviks and the people in the French Revolution being kind of funded by bankers so that they can use it as a kind of experiment. I've talked a lot about that, so I won't go on. But so Russian Revolution both had this North Node on the midheaven. So I find that's quite interesting. And yes, Jupiter quite close here, but a lot of planets in Pisces as well, and in the 12th house, indicating not all was what it seemed. And we know the cover story for the Russian Revolution, it wasn't really a peasants' uprising. It was just replacing one type of control with another and getting rid of the royal family, which is on the theme of getting rid of the aristocracies across Europe. Probably all part of moving us to where we were today, but probably a little bit deep, because here I'm just trying to show you how these charts work. I did this one for Chile. This was when they got rid of Allende. I think there was a CIA plot. Didn't they assassinate or kidnap Allende, and they brought in Pinochet, who was more of a right-wing dictator, I guess you could say. What does the chart of Chile look like? Well, again, we have Uranus, and it's tight on the Icarus Cooley. It's at 21 degrees or so. Icarus Cooley 22 degrees. So again, with Chile, we have a planet very tight on the Icarus Cooley. It's Uranus, which is often associated with right-wing coups and uprisings. And there it is. So that was not so much a grassroots, but very definitely right-wing uprising, strong placement of Uranus. We have some other planetary places, nothing too significant there. Let's go to the next one, which is, this is 1916 for Dublin. And this was the uprising which eventually helped herald in the 1922 independence for Ireland, independence from the UK. But like a lot of people are noticing now, the stay-at-home networks, i.e. Freemasonry, which is absolutely rife in Ireland, kind of held on to the British control. But interesting to note, we have a Venus in Taurus, which is pretty much exact conjunction to the descendant. So again, important planet on the descendant. We have Scorpio rising, which gives us all those revolutionary themes. A strong 8th house, again here, for this kind of strong uprising, which, as I say, wasn't immediately successful, but a lot of brave patriots were standing up. And we always do with uprisings and revolutions, we often have the sign of Taurus. Venus at home in Taurus makes it particularly strong and powerful. So again, we have that theme of a strong planet placed on the descendant. Of course, Venus here rules the descendant as well. And I think we've had good 8th houses with all of them. Haven't we had Pluto in the 8th house for a lot of these? Haven't been noticing that, but you can look back and check me and see if it was. And there we go. And here we have English Civil War. We've got here the date 20 March 1653. Let's have a look. What have we got there? Pluto is exactly conjunct the Icarus Cooley. So again, strong, powerful planet, which rules in this case the 9th house, conjunct the Icarus Cooley. And again, very important, lots of planets in the 1st house, which we obviously see when these important events take place. Moon conjunct Mars, and there we have the North Node for destiny in the 1st house as well. So another strong placement that probably changed the destiny of the UK. Pluto is often present when important things happen in the UK, as with Brexit when it was on the ascendant. And I think we'll find, I don't have it here. Yeah, I think we'll find, oh yes, guys, I've forgotten to put all those there. I also had all the placements for different countries for World War II, which I'm going to have to do in a separate broadcast. So I think there's going to be a part 2 to this, because the World War II ingresses were also extremely fascinating. So watch out for that in a part 2.